Hi, this is JJ. Let's talk about Vanderpump Rules. Recently, they fired a couple of major cast members, Stassi Schroeder and Kristen Duarte, and then a couple of other new guys, Max and Brad, for old tweets that had surfaced that had some racial and racist undertones. And then Stassi and Kristen had plotted and planned and called the police on a former castmate, Faith. I forget Faith's last name, alleging that she was a criminal that the police were looking for. The police actually had the person in custody at the time, and the person who they alleged they called the police on Faith for looked nothing like Faith. She was a light-skinned African American woman or black woman that looked nothing like Faith, and so they got fired for that. And some people are saying that Lala Kent should have been fired as well because of Lala, according to Stassi and Stassi's story about it. Lala had some role in actually doing some racist acts against Faith as well. And so some people are saying it wasn't racist. So let's talk about that, why it is. So there's different forms of racism. There's institutional racism that's structural and dual power dynamics, and you have individual racism. Sometimes it's overt, sometimes it's subtle. Someone calling someone the N-word, someone spitting on someone's face. Then you have these subtle forms called microaggressions. They're so subtle, and it's when someone, usually a white person, takes an action or makes a statement that has racist undertones or overtones to it, and they put that power dynamics over a person of color or a black person, and it's so subtle that sometimes you may second guess yourself and say, did they do that or say that to me because I'm black? Or are they just douchebags? And so you just wonder, what's the difference? So what Lala Kent did to Faith, according to Stassi Schroeder, in terms of setting her up to steal, is a form of microaggression and is a form of racism. So I'm not saying that she should get kicked off the show. However, what she did to Lala is egregious, and I think it might be more egregious than Matt and Brett, whatever her name is. Anyway, so here's an example of it. And so even though, for example, I am married, my kids are in a two-family household, my husband and I are attorneys, we live in the suburbs, our children go to private schools, so for the most part, we're living the American dream. However, notwithstanding the fact that we still encounter daily racisms, and I have for a long time, and one of the big forms of it that happens is when there is some bias in the person's head and preconceived notions that because we're black, we're more likely to be thieves. And so we are denied the benefit of doubt of being honest, trustworthy persons. So when Lala Kent, according to Stassi's story, put items in her apartment to set up to see if Faith would steal them, essentially she is acting or she has a bias and she wants some confirmation of her bias, some racist bias against Faith, most likely based on her, I don't know about her past action, but most likely it's based on her race. And to give you a sense of how common and often it is, let me give you a couple of stories. So when I was in law school, now here you have a law school environment. We had we had rooms for Law Journal. Law Journal is a prestigious organization you can belong to. So, and also a moot court. So I'm in the Law Journal office because I'm an editor of the Law Journal office. And I walk in there and one of my fellow journal members left her purse on the table because she had been in moot court in another room inside the law school. She left it unattended. I go in there to do some work. While I'm in the work, she comes in the office after I am in the office doing some work. And she has to leave again. And then when she leaves again, she grabs her purse. She was more comfortable leaving her purse unattended for all day on that table than to leave it in the room with a black person because she has a preconceived bias. Because I'm black, I'm more likely to steal her purse. And she needs to secure her purse from me. Even though I'm in a law school environment, even though I got this degree, I'm in law school, doesn't change the fact that she thinks that black people are more likely to commit crimes and more likely to steal. And so that happened in various different other environments where normally you would think that once you're in that environment, it's a sort of a space where it's affluent, the people there are comfortable and more likely not less likely to be thieves. And if you look like me and we all look alike, why are you grabbing your stuff? It's happened in ballparks. I go into a ballpark with my family. We're at the Nationals game. We're all wearing our Nationals gear. And there's a woman and, we're coming to look for our seats. And she runs because she sees us and grabs and secures her stuff. It's kind of like, what about us makes you think that you need to secure your stuff that you've left unattended the entire time? It's happened at church. We've gone behind, we come in late for church. We did it often, my family and I. And the person in the pew before us sees us and goes and grabs that person, puts it underneath the pew because they have to secure it from us because we're black. We're more likely in their eyes to steal, even though we're in church. We're in the church environment, the ballpark environment, the law firm. So it doesn't matter. They just believe because you're black, you're more likely to steal. That's a microaggression. Two other quick examples. We flew out of the country, and when my family and I went to sit down next while we're waiting for our flight, there's a woman next to us. She goes and she grabs her bags and she covers it. My husband gets up to walk to the snack bar, and this lady passing by. He grabs her clutches and secures her laptop. My kids are in this pool. They joined this pool for the first time. When I go to pick them up, to collect them, some kid is a teenager, jumps out of the pool, tells the other friend, you better grab your laptop because I'm there. All these other moms are there, but if the black mom comes, she got to secure it. So it doesn't matter what environment you're in. There's some belief that we are thieves. And so when you make those actions to secure your property that was otherwise left unattended, you felt safe when the space was all white, you have to secure for us, that's a form of racism. That's microaggression. So don't do that. And what Lala did to Faith in terms of setting her up, if she really did that, it's a form of racism and it's really offensive and it's hurtful. And if they're going to be letting go Brett and whatever, and if they're going to be letting go Max and Brett for silly, stupid comments, tweets that, whatever, then I think what Lala did to Faith is a little bit more egregious. I mean, nothing against her. I don't really care, to be honest. I watched that show, but I think they could just wrap it up. Brittany calling Faith nappy head, and then all of them like accusing her. It's just a mess. LVP ride-or-die for Stassi when she said that crazy stuff about the award show and not wanting to have racial justice issues and doing an award show. It's just been a whole bunch of mess, and Bravo's swept under the rug. It's 2 years old. It's just like, just let's just wrap it up. Just end it. Let's just do something else. Find some other way, some other outlet. Or, if you're going to be like, I don't know. That's my opinion. Comment below if you have any questions or comments or concerns or want some more answers. JJ Cat. Like, subscribe. Peace.